here we go. Another episode of We Talk Music on the air, and here. And once again, I'm Mo. Got with me the king of the casters, Mr. Brett. Podcast Brett. That's a superstar entrance I just gave you. So you got to even top that, because the person you're talking to it, at least one of them, if not both of them, quite frankly, much bigger stars than you.
Well, absolutely, and one of them is brandishing a weapon at us right now. So I mean, he is the guy next door. We'll get to him. Right now, we've got from this. This is a little bit different because we're talking a movie here. So it's like We Talk Music is crossing over with We Talk Movies. I don't know. We rarely do We Talk Movies, so it doesn't matter. But we have the director of Beginning of the End, Terry R. Wickham, with us. But the man who's brandishing the weapon is our good friend Ron Keel. So it's great to have them both on the show, and it's great to talk about Beginning of the End. Can't wait to see it coming up in July. But first off, tell us about the movie.
You want me to start, Ron?
First of all, it's not a weapon. It's a tool.
A tool.
Depending on how you use it. And, of course, I'm wearing my hoodie, which I wore in the movie. I was thinking, normally I dress up like a rock star for these interviews with you guys, but I thought I'd wear the hoodie that I wore in the movie and my tool, which never leaves my hand throughout the course of the film. We're going to auction off the hoodie on eBay after the premiere, July 20th in Edmonds, Washington at the Edmonds Theater. Really excited about the premiere, theatrical premiere, the West Coast red carpet theatrical debut of Beginning of the End, directed by visionary creator, writer, producer, director, and my dear friend, Terry R. Wickham. So we appreciate you guys giving us the chance to talk about the film. Of course, the crowbar never leaves my hands throughout the course of the film and throughout the course of this interview. So I'm not sure if I'm the good guy or the bad guy. You have to watch the movie to figure it out.
That's right. Well, I'll know sooner than Mon.
You'll know about it, but I'm just wondering why there isn't blood all over it already, and where's the on the hoodie and on the crowbar? Where's all the blood that must have been splattered?
It's really clean. It's really clean for an apocalypse.
Yeah. I did wash the blood off the hoodie, but we can recreate that at your disposal. There is a lot of blood in this movie, and from the moment I arrived on the set to our makeup artist, amazing.
Samantha Molesky.
Yeah. She created so much of the amazing makeup and blood and guts effects that you're going to see in this film. But it's not just about the blood and guts. It's about the suspense, the terror, the horror, the ordinary people put into an extraordinary situation in which we all have to adapt and evolve throughout the course of this film. It's amazing. And Terry, it's his vision, it's his script, his direction, his artistic inspiration that brings this story to life. So I can't wait for you to see it. And obviously we want to promote the premiere of the event is to see it on the big screen. It's going to be a thrill for all of us. Anybody in the Seattle area, we're at the Edmonds Theater, July 20th. It's an exclusive screening, red carpet event where we have Terry, myself, other stars of the film. Scott Rockenfeld from Queensryche will be moderating the Q&A afterwards. And so it really is a really Hollywood-style premiere event occurring in the Pacific Northwest, because that's where Terry grew up. That's his home turf. So we're bringing it home for Terry and giving him a chance to really spike the football in his stomping grounds in Washington. So.
Yeah, just to add on to what Ron's saying, the way this whole project came about was Ron and I have another movie that we were working on called Anomaly. It's a really scary ghost story that I wrote actually back in 2004. And during COVID, I tried to raise the money for the film. It's not a little film. It was about a $700,000 budget. And I raised some of the money, but was not enough to make the film. And after about a year and a half of doing that, I felt I should pivot because as a director, you don't wait to you got to make movies consistently. It's just like working out. So I decided that I could make a 20-minute movie a lot easier than making a 90 or 120-minute movie. So, but I didn't want to do just a short film. I've done plenty of those in my almost 38, 39-year career as a filmmaker. So I thought about recruiting a couple other directors and have us tell 20-minute movies to the same theme on the same night. Not found footage. I've already done that. Not horror webcam. I've already done that. So I wanted to do something like it was happening immediately at our time at night, almost in linear time. One story takes place at 8 p.m. The next is at 8:30, 9:30. We had to go through a couple of directors. Directors have big egos. Sometimes they get their feelings hurt. They're not motivated. So we went through a couple of guys. I ended up having to direct 2 movies because one of them quit towards the end. And I'm a guy who doesn't make excuses. I make things happen no matter what the circumstance. So that's what became Begin the End. And the first idea I had was, let's tell a story about people killing each other because that's inexpensive. And I went to one of my friends, David Melanson, who's one of the associate producers on this film. And I said, what's a good idea, David, for people to kill each other? And he said, AI. AI could do it so many ways. Fake text, color coding TVs, brainwash you to make you have violence, smartphones, smart home, all this other stuff. So that was the pitch to all the directors. I'd watch videos on YouTube and I pitched to a bunch of directors. I went through about 60, 70. A lot of them, first thing they say to you is, okay, you have a budget? I said, well, if I have a budget, I don't need you. I need you because I need each guy to make their own film because I don't need help making a movie. I can do that as well as anyone. So anyway, that's how it all came about. And what I thought about really quickly was Ron, because Ron, we had been preparing to do Anomaly. We did a trailer for it back in February 2022. You guys could go on YouTube, watch it, shot in anamorphic widescreen like John Carpenter does, who's one of my 3 favorite directors who inspired me. And we had Kaitlyn Jaynne was going to be in that movie playing Ron's wife. Some of the other folks that were brought into this other movie. But anyway, so I wrote the script. I thought of something really quick. I wanted to capture the feel, not the story, not the characters, not a cannibal family, but I wanted the feel of the first Texas Chainsaw, that unrelenting, brutal, no hope type feel. And, Chainsaw is almost bloodless. At that time, makeup effects were not prominent. So that wasn't really a part of Tobe Hooper's film, legendary masterpiece. But, Samantha Molesky, we brought her on because she worked with Ron and I on the Anomaly trailer. She was the makeup artist on that film. And she ended up actually being in this film as an actress as well. But anyway, I know I'm jumping around. Directors do that. I apologize for that. But I also wanted to create like the Wes Craven's first film, which we all know is kind of crude, not very well acted, looks like crap. But Last House on the Left has that brutal nihilistic feel. So between Toby's film and Craven's film, I wanted to capture that. But what I wanted to do differently than that was instead of filming it crudely like that, that's not my style. I like John Carpenter style. So I wanted to shoot anamorphic 235:1, that really big rectangle widescreen with the short depth of field. And I wanted to make it like a John Carpenter siege movie. So in other words, someone under attack in a place that kind of gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you combine Chainsaw, Last House, and a John Carpenter siege movie, but done in Terry Wickham way, that's our film Begin the End. But that's one of the 4 movies. There's 3 other films. So we are the one who start off the film. Ron, I don't mean to hog the space here.
Oh, it's all you, Terry. You're the man. Nobody sells it better than you. You sold me on your concept, your idea, your script, your vision years ago. And the opportunity to work with you on this movie was certainly a breakthrough moment for me. As an actor, challenging to work with people like Terry and the other cast members of the crew, and to be the guy next door, not playing a rock star or playing a biker or a musician or whatever. I'm really literally, my character is Ray, the guy next door who is a single parent who goes through an extraordinary circumstance and tries to adapt on the fly throughout the evolution of this film. Now, I have to confess, I have not seen the film yet because Terry has not showed me the finished results. We're all going to see that movie together on the big screen at the Edmonds Theater, July 20th.
Yeah, and to add to what Ron's saying is, when I pitched to the other directors, and I'm really talking about our film in particular, I said to them, look, let's go with no credits, so it seems like it's real. Let's have it all take place in one night. Credits will be at the end, obviously. I said, I want to be almost linear time. So you got to be in the same world that I'm playing in. One of the directors early said, how about a ghost film? I said, this is not Ghost. It's AI. So you got to deal with reality. And AI, as we all know, is real. So, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to make this film that was just, it doesn't let up. There are a couple of moments that we have really some nice, beautiful, emotional moments. I don't want to give anything away. And the way that Ron, Matthew Dalton Lynch, who plays David Wells, there's a family that is in the neighborhood with Ron's character, and his wife is named not Kaitlyn, is named Marilyn Wells. Actually, Marilyn's named after Marilyn Burns, who played Sally Hardesty in Texas Chainsaw. So I have all these little nods. I do that with all my films. If you learn of the characters' names, there's a lot going on. Addresses, the address in that Marilyn mentions is where they actually shot Chainsaw. It's the real location in Round Rock, Texas. So it's all in there. There's so much going on. So the second film is made by a guy named Jack Marzliano. The third movie is made by a guy named Zach Maldonado. Zach was actually the gaffer on the first weekend that we made our film. He wasn't there on the second weekend, but he directed the third movie, and then I directed the last movie. And on the last movie, which is called AI, I didn't want to duplicate myself. So I wrote a completely different style of film, shot it differently. It's a different feel. It's not unrelenting. It's a little more sexual. It deals with kind of some multi-dimensions with AI, and we have to kind of wrap the whole film up. But anyway, go back to the film, me and Ron and Kaitlyn and Matthew and the other good folks we worked with. I got to tell you, it was the best experience I've ever had in the 43 productions I've done in 38 years as a director. I'm not just saying that because Ron's here. We did it in 2 weekends. We crowdfunded on Indiegogo. We exceeded our goal. We qualified for in-demand status on Indiegogo, where people could donate after we finish. That's the first time that's ever happened in my career. We stayed at an Airbnb, this beautiful location, really close to the location. Ron was there. We had like rock star amenities, right, Ron?
I can tell you, being on set with Terry and the other cast members and crew and shooting beginning at the end, it felt really intense. I mean, it really felt heavy, serious, not only from a working standpoint as an actor trying to portray that role, but man, you could feel the suspense, the emotion, the arc that our characters go throughout the course of that film. Now, Terry, of course, these guys, Brett and Mo, are the interviewers, but I'm always, now that we're going to make that announcement here momentarily about RFK Media and your company working together on this film, but is this a horror movie? Is it a sci-fi movie? How would you classify this film?
It's a horror anthology, like Creepshow, like Tales from the Crypt, like, the late Hammer anthologies. It's a horror film where they're all together and it's not happy what's going on. It's definitely, some movies have a little comedic moments, but I'd say for the most part, they're pretty damn intense. The
Horror,
first one.
Yeah.
It's definitely a horror film.
Thriller, disturbing, suspenseful, dramatic. All of those elements are combined, at least in the portion of the film that I participated in. And we're also very happy to announce, I guess we can do this now, if you don't mind, Brett and Mo, to let everyone know that RFK Media, our company that has distributed music, videos, the new comic book that we're working on with Metal Nerds, RFK Media is the distributor for Beginning of the End. We're going to have DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that in your hands by Halloween, not to discourage anyone from attending the premiere, because there's nothing like seeing it on the big screen with us. Brett, I know you'll be there with Terry and I and the rest of the cast to see the premiere at the Edmonds Theater in Edmonds, Washington on July 20th. But really happy to be a part of that filmmaking foundation with Terry. This guy really deserves to be mentioned in the same paragraph as those idols that he's mentioning, John Carpenter, Wes Craven, and all that. This guy is a visionary like no other. And his words, his vision, his artistic contribution to filmmaking needs to be seen, felt, and experienced.
Thank you, Ron. That's very nice. And again, I don't know if you guys want to jump in. I'm not trying to take up the space, but yeah, especially because
I don't have to do anything. This is my favorite kind.
Well, the other reason you'd want to see on the big screen, especially the way I shoot films, is I shoot widescreen. So there's nothing like that on a big giant screen. So if you like John Carpenter's Halloween, John Carpenter's The Fog, The Thing, Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China, Prince of Darkness, They Live, all those movies are anamorphic widescreen. So when you're watching on your phone, that could never match that power of seeing it there. And the truth is, how many times you get to be there with Ron, with Scott Rockenfield, myself. By the way, Pamela Moore, Sister Mary from Operation Mindcrime, she is going to be there as well as a guest. She's not in the film. I licensed 2 songs in my last movie from her, which is called Double Vision. You guys could go watch that on Tubi. But Pam's going to be there. So this is going to be a real celebration for people that like scary movies, heavy metal, hard rock. It's just a big party. And hopefully we can scare the heck out of you guys.
Scary metal. Scary metal. My crowbar is called Scary Metal. My crowbar now has a new name.
Yes.
And
I did wipe the blood off this thing. But man, it literally walking around on the set for several days covered in blood. And I had several fight scenes in this movie too, which I read the script. We did the read throughs. We did the prep online. And you get on set and there's these 2 young guys, well-built, young, tough guys that I'm supposed to kick their ass, right? So I can't wait to see Ron Keel's fight scene. Watch the old guy kick the young guys' asses. I can't wait to see that at the Edmonds Theater on July 20th. I can't believe you're going to be there, Brett. Thank you so much for the support and for just coming out to the Northwest to be a part of that event with us, man. You and Krista are going to be there, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to see it. The second that I saw where it was and knew that we could actually make it work, I really wanted to do it. And so I'm glad that we're able to come and support you. Cause that's what we love to do. We just want to support you guys.
I appreciate you're everywhere, man. Go ahead. Mo, what'd you say, Mo?
He never mentioned to me to see if I wanted to come.
You'll have to ask me. That's right.
And by the way, I have to add this, even though it's unrelated exactly to the movie, but the night before the premiere, Ron is playing live at in Everett, which is actually my hometown. I grew up in Everett, Snohomish, which is about 20 minutes away from Edmonds. We had originally set this movie to show at the historic Everett Theater, but we found out after we booked it that it's foreclosing the end of June.
Oh,
So we had no choice but to shift to another theater that was close by. So Ron could give you more details about his performance, but I'm going to be there. I'm bringing all my family and friends. I'm encouraging everybody to be there that night so we could all have a party together before that night of the premiere. How cool is that?
Well, for me, it's if I'm going somewhere, the logical conclusion is to book a gig in the neighborhood, right? So I reached out to Tony V's Garage, a venue in Terry's hometown, Everett, Washington, and they're gracious enough to allow me to do the pre-premiere concert event, a solo acoustic show. Ron Keel, alone acoustic. It's not intimate. It's a rock show. You know, Brett. You know how I roll. We are not going to. I mean, it's going to be a blast to make a weekend of this whole deal, to see the pre-party concert on the 19th and Everett at Tony V's Garage, and then the next night, the 20th at the Edmonds Theater, to see this film on the big screen. I mean, you can see Ron Keel the night before and make a whole weekend of it, and we have VIP discount tickets. Literally, it's $40 plus a couple of ticket fees. So $45 will get you the VIP package, which gets you into the concert, the movie, a signed poster, movie poster, and all that. Of course, the meet and greet's free. Anybody who comes to the movie is going to get a photo with me and the other actors and Terry. And we're going to make this a true celebration of the beginning of the end.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd add to this, and I probably shouldn't say this because you don't want to jinx yourself, but I've been watching. Ron hasn't seen this, like nobody's seen this, but me and my editors and my sound designer and composer. Which, by the way, our composer is Michael Romeo from Symphony X, one of the best guitar players in the world. He's also a Hollywood level composer. So Mike's scoring the movie. If you go on YouTube or Ron's site, you can watch our trailer. That's Michael Romeo's music on the trailer. And Mike scored the Anomaly trailer we did as well. So he's, I have my go-to people. You understand as a filmmaker, if you look back to the history of movies, when George Romero had that team in Pittsburgh, God rest his soul, of those people that worked with Pasquale Bubba, the other folks that worked with him, John Carpenter had his team. When they break apart from those people, the movies are not the same. There's something about a nucleus that when it works, that you can depend on them. And Ron's a guy that I know he's going to come completely professionally ready. He's not going to cry like a baby. He's going to deliver the goods. Kaitlyn Jaynne, she's the same. And we've also got to mention, I don't think Ron would disagree, we have Dream Theater's drummer, Mike Portnoy, one of the greatest drummers of all time, youngest drummer, Hall of Fame, 31 times best drummer by Modern Drummer. His daughter's in our film, Melody Portnoy, and she kicks ass. She's amazing.
She's incredible.
She's incredible. She will be at the premiere. And her mom is coming too, which is Mike's wife, Marlene. Marlene is also in the movie. I don't want to tell you where, but she appears in the film as well. So they'll both be there. So you've got some rock royalty, heavy metal royalty to go with the filmmakers. And, our makeup effects artist, Samantha, she was taught at Tom Savini's school. So speaking of George Romero, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, those are effects by Tom Savini. Our makeup artist went to his school. That's where she learned how to do gore effects.
And, you guys are talking about music often, Brett and Mo. The music alone of this film from Michael Monroe, it's
Michael
Romeo is it carries the film in such a way that those classic movie soundtracks, like Terry was mentioning, John Carpenter's theme and so forth, Michael Romeo has done an incredible job building that suspense, that emotion, that every great horror film, thriller, whatever you want to call it, has that soundtrack. Jaws. I mean, I mean, this music to this movie is absolutely a super strong point. And I can't wait to see the whole thing, top to bottom. I'm going to be sitting there with my friends, my family, my wife, our fans, Terry, side by side, sitting there watching this film on the big screen at the Edmonds Theater in Edmonds, Washington, July 20th. And just what an amazing experience. If any horror fans in the Seattle area don't attend this premiere screening, you're missing out.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd say to you guys is, for everyone that's coming, is not only could we talk to you guys on the red carpet, sign posters, talk about whatever you guys want to do. After the movie plays, we will have a Q&A where I invite my actors up in front of the crowd. My brother is going to videotape it from 3 cameras. My other brother's a professional photographer. He's shooting everything. So we've got video and that will be on the Blu-ray and the DVD as an extra feature. And anyone in that audience could ask us questions, and I encourage you to do so. Sometimes people are afraid to speak out. That's actually the reason why I reached out to Scott Rockenfield. I said, Scott, could you moderate it for us? Get the audience warmed up, because you guys shouldn't be afraid to talk to us. We want to hear any answers, any questions you might have, because as you can see, we're not afraid to talk about it. But what I'll say to Ron, and Ron doesn't know this, but when I've been watching the first movie beginning to the end, which we did, I shouldn't say it because it'll sound arrogant, it'll sound pompous, and I don't mean it to be. But I told the 2 other directors, I said, guys, you better bring it, because this first film, knock on wood, don't get you. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's that damn good. It doesn't let up. It looks great. It sounds great. It's acted. It doesn't hold back. It kicks you in the balls. I told people, I said, look, my 2 movies, I'm very proud of them and they're very different. But if you put AI against Beginning of the End kicks its ass.
Wow. And it's so cool that Scott Rockenfield is going to be there. I mean, Scott has kept a pretty low profile since he got the boot from Queensryche. I don't know the whole story behind that, but I know Scott really well from touring with Queensryche during the entire Rage for Order tour in 1986. And to have him be there to moderate our Q&A, I'm looking forward to seeing him. And I mean, that's rock royalty as well. So you got Scott Rockenfield, Pamela Moore, who is the Sister Mary, the voice of Sister Mary from Mindcrime, myself, Melody Portnoy, Kaitlyn Jaynne, the Playboy model that stars in the film. And man, she's more than just a fine body and a pretty face. She is a serious actress. She brings her character to life in such a way that so I was blown away. It's her first acting job.
Yeah. Can I add to that, Ron? Can I add to that? And
You're the boss. You're the boss.
I don't want to step on your toes, but
hey, I got a crowbar.
So Kaitlyn, I had cast her in the movie we were supposed to make, Anomaly, the ghost story. And when she auditioned for it, I had seen her on Instagram over like a year. I kept seeing this beautiful, sexy woman. And, wasn't naked. She was in bikinis. She was in dresses. And I'm thinking, this woman is so beautiful. I wonder if she could act. So I didn't reach out to her right away. Maybe like 6 months go by. I keep seeing her every once in a while. So I finally sent her a direct message on Instagram. And I said, have you ever thought about being an actress? And I didn't get a response right away back. And she told me later on, it's because her husband always checks out who the people are who send these messages. And they're usually like bullshit. People are just they like jumper bones, whatever. And he went back to her and he said, this guy's legit. This guy's a real filmmaker. And she goes, really? She goes, yeah, go look at it. Look at YouTube. He's got movies. He's got stuff, movies released, etc. Devil's Five, Double Vision, Gruesome Threesome, Evil Streets. I mean, the list goes on. 5-time award-winning director. So she eventually reached out to me and I said, well, I'd like to see you do the scene. I'm not just going to cast you. So she auditioned for the part against all the other trained actresses who were experienced, and she beat them. It had nothing to do with her body. It was her performance. And after I cast her, I said to her, I said, listen, I have a lot of experience to work with actors, especially first timers, and even very beautiful, sexy women. And like I work with Serena Lee, big boob legend back in the late 90s. Look her up. And I said, the audience is going to think that you're going to be a dummy. I'm not trying to insult you. You're a Playboy playmate, FHM cover model. They're going to think that you're a bimbo. I'm just telling you, that's the way they're going to judge you. So I said, look, you don't need to worry about your look. You look amazing. You need to become an actress. So I would go on masterclass online. I'd take lessons with Helen Mirren, Natalie Portman, all these people that are pre-recorded lessons. I'd get a private coach. I would work on becoming an actor because they're going to think that you're going to be stupid. Trust me. That's what they're going to think. And she went to work right away. And Ron could tell you, she's not just a pretty face.
No, she is obviously it's not the body or the face. It's that heart and that character. When you work with a real professional actress, and for this being her first film, the scenes that I did with her, where we are both emotionally distraught, and she's looking at me in the eye and crying, and I'm angry, and she's hurt, and all these emotions are flying back and forth. It felt so real. I can't commend her enough on her acting chops and on the new movie that we're doing. I don't know if we can mention that, Terry. We probably should. We should probably prime the pump a little bit for the next film, Ms. Scarlet, which Kaitlyn Jaynne is also starring in. Every reading that we've done, I believe her. I believe that she is who she is portraying. That is the greatest compliment I think you can give any actor or actress, is that you believe that they are who they're portraying. So I can't wait to see the entire film and see that interaction with her, the other cast members, and how the drama and emotion unfolds throughout the course of this film. It's going to be an amazing experience.
Yeah, and guys, I'm going to just jump on what Ron said about our next film, just because we're going to launch a crowdfund on the day the movie comes out for our next movie. This one's a little bigger one. We're going to try to raise more money than the last because it's a whole feature film. What happened, this is the truth. About a week after Ron and Kaitlyn and the rest of us made Begin the End, I had such a great experience with them that I woke up on a Sunday morning. It was a week after. So we shot in August. And I woke up the Sunday morning and I said, I want to make a slasher film. I'd never truly done, I've had movies with slasher aspects to it, but I've never truly done a slasher film. Now, you have to understand when I say slasher film, when it's coming from me, not because Terry Wickham.
Now, what is a slasher film, Terry? Is that like, what is?
Well, I want to preference it is, I look at a slasher film probably different than most people. I'm 59 years old, so I grew up during the slasher golden age. So from 1978, when I was 13, and John Carpenter released Halloween, and then which was the first movie that got me interested in filmmaking. It wasn't directing right away. I first thought it was special makeup effects, because at the time you had Tom Savini, Rick Baker, Dick Smith, all those guys doing the incredible effects. But 4 years later, I saw The Thing on the first weekend in June of '82. And when I looked up at the poster, I said, wait a second, that's the same guy that made Halloween. That's when I decided to become a director. But when I say me being slasher, I'm not one of these kids that are 20 that didn't grow up during that time. I was alive when Halloween came out. Then, you're talking a year or so later, Friday the 13th, Prom Night, Terror Train, Madman, House on Sorority Row, The Prowler, The Burning, My Bloody Valentine. So, and at that time, unlike today, you couldn't just take a phone and watch Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. You had to either see it in a theater, to drive in. If you happen to have cable, which most people didn't have, including my family, so you had to have a friend that had HBO Showtime, go look at their guide a month before, go watch Friday the 13th when it came out at 11 o'clock at night. So I have a real big I really love those films a lot. Maniac, all those movies that came out during that time, and I have a respect for them. But when I talk about our slasher, we are not copying that. We hold those in high regard, but our movie's not about a guy with a mask killing people having sex. That's like 90% of slashers. Our movie it's a little more complicated. It's a lot more mature. There's not teens getting killed. These are full grown adults, but we have a killer that has a purpose. And you could tell by the title, Miss Scarlet, she has a reason for what she's doing, and she has some particular targets. And you're not going to know who she is because I give you a lot of different choices on who this woman could be. So right away, we have a female killer. That makes us different. The other thing is I have a big affinity for the sex comedies of the early 80s, like Porky's and Private School and Screwballs and stuff like that. Now, Miss Scarlet is not a comedy, but I wanted to infuse some of that comedic humor without hurting the suspense. And I also came up with, I thought, some very innovative ideas on the type of characters that populate this movie. I don't want to give too much away, but we've got some people I've never seen used in a slasher film. And some of the people who have read this told me, oh my God, they really make this unique and different. And they're people that have natural tendencies to create suspense. I don't want to give too much away, but imagine someone who's deaf or who's blind or who is mute. If a killer comes in, what can they do? Right? So we've got these natural scary scenes. I got to tell you, we've been rehearsing for 2 months. We have a read through tomorrow night. We read through twice a month, and we're going to be ready. And our crowdfund's going to go live on the 20th of July, the same night as the premiere. And you guys could get involved in that. You can become producers on it, executive producers. You can maybe even be in the movie as an extra. So anyway, I won't jump ahead of myself, beginning the ends first. So
absolutely. Well said, Terry. And we're excited about this film, the next film, and she's going to paint the town red, man. Miss Scarlet, she's a bitch.
How long will the Miss Scarlet Indiegogo last? How long is the campaign?
Usually I run them for 30 days. So we'll go live on the 20th of July, and you can just do the math. 30 days. Okay. And yep. And we'll have a treasure trove of different perks. And sometimes I even have someone make your own perk. You make the right offer to us that we like. We could talk about negotiating something like that. And believe me when I say, people always say to me, why do you put these high level perks? They always go. They all, and beginning the end, we had one perk that was half the money we needed. A guy took it.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of perks at the premiere event at the Edmonds Theater on July 20th. The meet and greet with the cast and Terry, the autographed movie posters from the Q&A. It's a real experience. It's more than just going to the movies. You're going to be part of history, a part of horror movie history. And I might even bring the crowbar with me.
so in other words, you're not auctioning off the crowbar. The hoodie, that's fine. But
I don't know, man. This is like, it's like my crutch. You'll see in the movie. There are a couple of scenes where it really comes into play.
Now, you talk about this being a great theatrical experience, and I totally believe it, and I am excited. So is there a chance that other people, besides those people who are going to get to this premiere, are going to be able to see it in the theater?
Well, I think we'll eventually have an East Coast premiere for sure, because I live in Long Island. I'm in New York. I know Ron's in the Midwest, but I grew up in Seattle. It's my hometown, Everett, Snohomish, Seattle, Edmonds. But we will have a premiere in the East Coast as well. I would love it if there's a company out there that would like to release it theatrically. It's definitely got the legs to do that. It's got the balls, the guts, the glory to do that. We would love to, Ron, I'm sure we'd entertain any company that'd like to come aboard. Look, Terrifier, Damien Lone's film got released in the theater. Each one of them, the second, the third made even more money. I think there's movies designed to play in the theater. I mean, I don't make my movies to look like a shitty camcorder film. We shoot high level, anamorphic, great moving shots, rack focus, dolly shots, slider shots, steady cam, drones. I mean, it's got all the beautiful cinematic tools that any great filmmaker should use. This is not like some bouncy Blair Witch looking film. This is the real deal. This is like made for the movie theater. So we would love to go out. Ron and I would love to get someone that would like take it on theatrically, because believe me when I say it could draw an audience big time.
Absolutely, man. This film, I believe, deserves to be seen in the theater. What I've seen so far, and from what I saw on set while we were shooting, it's very dark. We didn't use any lighting at all. Most of it's flashlights. You know, in your face. That was
by design. I wanted only 3 high lumens flashlights, and I talked to the DP to make sure we could illuminate enough light. So he actually bought a camera it was used on some big Hollywood films in darkness. And that's what we did. So we knew the flashlights were capable of giving us the light we needed. So we really lit the whole film with 3 flashlights.
It really takes you into the world that we are experiencing in the beginning and the end. So it's not artificial at all. It felt real on set. It felt like we were really going through this extraordinary experience. So it made the acting for me a little easier because it felt real.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't want to disrespect the other 2 movies or 3 movies, Jack and Zach's movie, or even my other movie. They've definitely got their qualities. I will tell you that the other movie I directed, AI, the one that wraps the film, we shot that with the most expensive cameras I've ever had in my career. We shot them with 2 Sony Venice cameras. It's a $70,000 camera without anything on it. Once you load it up, it's like a $120,000 camera. And we shot that with $65,000 anamorphic lenses. They were Cooke anamorphic lenses. So that movie looks fucking amazing. It's a different kind of movie. I did it on purpose. I will say to you, I'm very proud. It's got some moments that are very funny. And it's a little bit erotic too. I don't want to give too much away. But it does pay off the film, and it pays off all 3 of the other movies as well. So, and I break the 4th wall. I do a bunch of stuff. I do a couple of things cinematically I've never done any other film. Little De Palma touch there. There's some really cool stuff. So there's a lot of reasons why to see this entire feature film.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like Terry's mentioning, it's an anthology, kind of like Creepshow. If you were a fan of the old Creepshow anthology, Twilight Zone, there is that classic element to this movie, and also the fact that AI is and probably will continue to be a primary topic in our lives. How it affects us now and in the years to come will maybe this movie will be a little more prophetic than we want it to be, but it's a scary thing, and it's a perfect topic for the scripts and the action in the beginning of the end. AI is the bad guy. I mean, literally the villain in this movie. It's not me. I'm just the guy next door. I'm not the bad guy. Sorry. Oh, I got carried away. Sorry.
Yeah. And by the way, each movie uses AI differently. So they're not all the same, but they're all in the same world on the same night. But the first one uses it a different way than the second, and the second uses different than the third, and the last one's different.
But so you're going to kind of AI actually used in the making of the movie, though, right?
No, we didn't use AI.
This is real movie shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll tell you is the last movie, I wanted to physicalize AI. So I came up with the way of doing that. I think.
Oh, no.
Okay. I don't want to tell you too much. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. So don't
give it away, boss.
I don't want to give away anything.
You got to come join us.
You got to come and see it. You have a good time.
Brett will be there with his wife, Krista, at the premiere event, July 20th at the Edmonds Theater in Edmonds, Washington, just north of Seattle. Come out for the pre-party concert event, July 19th, with Ron Keel at the Tony V's Garage in Everett, Washington. And then the following night, the world theatrical premiere of Beginning of the End.
Now, Ron, one thing, if the crowbar starts talking to you, that's probably a bad sign, but then you have another horror movie on your hands.
Yeah. Yes.
I cannot tell you enough story. Man, after we got done with the filming of the movie, we got finished, it's a wrap. It's all done, right? And I said, Terry, how much do you want for the crowbar? That's because he bought he actually bought the crowbar. I said, man, I'm not going home without it. I mean, this is my crutch. This is my money prop.
Yeah, and you know what, Ron? I
gave him $20,000 for this fucking crowbar. No, I'm kidding. But man, it hangs on the doorknob outside the studio. Literally, my studio is right over there. The crowbar hangs on the doorknob. It's always with me. I do a lot of these interviews, and of course, they ask about the movie, and it just feels really good in my hands. It's going to feel really good on your face.
Yeah, and Ron, I wouldn't give that up because that's going to be something you're going to probably cherish your whole life. Because especially the movie does as well as I think we hope it to do. And the other thing is, when we go to conventions later on, Ron can bring it to conventions, get people's pictures taken with him in the crowbar, right? Yeah. Why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you got to do that on the red carpet.
Will you let Brett hold the crowbar? That's the big question.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, you are one of my biggest supporters, and also mentioning that I probably did already, but Brett Monroe and his wife Krista are in charge of the Keel World Metal Cowboy comic book that's going to be coming out later this year. And I think we're going to see some, maybe something at
that's
the premiere.
Right. Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal. And here's the funny thing, right? AI, the villain there too, ultimately.
AI is the villain in the comic book.
So,
well.
I mean, it's just, it's just one of those moments where when you start thinking about it, AI, it works.
I believe we'll be taking the crowbar and the comic book to horror conventions and comic conventions around the world and around the country in the years to come, celebrating the beginning of the end, the Metal Cowboy Keel World comic book, and more.
Yes. I got to figure out how I can squeeze some beginning of the end in there, and how we can just bring a little bit of ties. Because I mean, Terry, you talk about all the the mentions to John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper and stuff like that. Now it's just like, okay, well, how do I mention it in here? Well, I got to bring some of that in.
It's funny, Brent, because I remember when we were working on the script, and I was working on some of that with you, and I sent it off to you, and you went. I gave it to you, and you're like, I made a few changes, make it a little more cinematic the way I saw it, and I was like, okay, so you wanted John Carpenter, you didn't want Sergio Leone, which is what I was giving you, right? So
that's right. Yes.
Those were the exact words I said. You wanted Carpenter, not Leone. Okay, all right. But then I kept that in mind as I wrote the rest, and. So I mean, it
that's
sounds like
right, Mo. You're a big part of this comic book as well. I forgot. I should have acknowledged that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, I didn't really do as much. I just some words.
I know your name is on the front cover of the comic book, and you have been a big part of that. So I want to thank you and acknowledge that as well. Yeah. I have dealt with Brett and Krista extensively throughout the creation of this product, but.
Well, it's their baby.
I really want to thank you for your contribution and being a part of this.
No, like I say, it's just funny that Brett wanted Carpenter, and now the Terry keeps on mentioning Carpenter.
Yeah, here it is. Well, and that's because I mean, why wouldn't you want John Carpenter? I mean, you talk about a great director.
Because I thought we were doing a Western, so I thought no one's cooler than Leone, but then I thought Carpenter, and of course he's very influenced by Howard Hawks,
great combination,
and John Ford, right, and those great Western. So I mean, it all ties in together, anyways, right? No matter what. I mean, I can't wait to read the book myself.
Well, I know we've
Get what's
talked a
going on.
lot. Terry and I have no end of enthusiasm and words to express about the film and about what we're doing on July 20th. Do you guys have any questions or anything that we talked over that you want to ask or include?
Amazing how many of my
listeners and fans?
questions you answered already. Like,
it's pretty good.
Answered a lot of them.
All right. We don't want to shut you out, but obviously Terry and I both are very excited about the project and we have a lot to say. So we apologize for talking over you.
No, I mean we're here to facilitate. That's what we do. We facilitate, and much like Scott Rockenfield, there, you talk about it. It's just like we just need to moderate. All we got to do is bring out the important stuff, and if you're talking about the important stuff, well, then we can fade into the background a little bit.
No, we appreciate the opportunity to talk about the film with you guys, and thank you for your help and support.
I did have one quick question for you guys. Then, one for each of you. I'm just wondering, for you, Ron, how much your performance in music and your background in that helps you as an actor? And Terry, how natural an actor is Ron?
I'll let Ron go first.
Great questions, Mo. And I have done some acting in the past. I studied acting at Santa Monica College in the late 80s, early 90s, and had some roles in TV and films, but they were always the rock star or the biker or the criminal or the thug or whatever. Terry gave me an opportunity to act in the film Anomaly, which we haven't finished yet, but we did extensive work on a couple of years ago. And in that movie, and this movie especially, beginning of the end, I am not a rock star. I'm not a biker. I'm the guy next door. I'm literally Ray, single parent who is thrown into an extraordinary circumstance. The experience that I've had, I think I'm a lot better at it now than I was 35 years ago when I did my first movies and TV shows, because of the life experiences that you can draw from when you're playing the guy next door, an older cat, and you're drawing on those life experiences. And the important thing for an actor is usually the character arc, the emotions that you have to go through in this movie. And I don't want to give too much away either, but I go from anger to fear to heartbreak through so many emotional arcs in this movie. What a challenge to do that, and to do it with people like Terry and the other cast and crew and people that are in the movie business. I'm not in the movie business so much, so to speak. I was extremely prepared. I went into the experience knowing my lines, knowing how I would feel in this circumstance and how to bring that out, how to wrestle those emotions from the core of my being. But it is, I do draw a lot upon the experiences as a performer, because when I'm on stage, and I don't want to give that away either, people think that it's just you. It's just Ron Keel being Ron Keel. Man, you're putting on a show, man. You're putting on an act. You are, doesn't matter what you went through yesterday or what you're worried about or how you're feeling physically, emotionally, mentally. You have to play that role, the metal cowboy. I mean, that's who I am when I step on stage. So the experiences that I've gone through as a performer and entertainer do help enhance my ability to deliver the goods as an actor, especially when it is a character like Ray in Beginning of the End, who is, like I said, the guy next door. Put into a circumstance where, and I am the guy next door. I've got neighbors right over there, the next house over. So I know what it's like to to live that life and to be that character. But Terry gave me the opportunity to really expand upon that. And in this film, when I got the script, I didn't know if I was the good guy or the bad guy. And I still don't know. You watch the movie, you tell me, who is Ray?
Yeah. So to answer your question, Mo, Ron, I said it to him afterwards. I said he was really great because he not only was what he needed to be when he first comes in, which I can't say, so I don't ruin it for you guys, but then the changes he goes through, if any, and the surprises and turns and twists. So what I was very appreciative of and impressed by was that he reached those moments. There was like one scene, which I can't describe, that's probably the most important in the whole film of the first movie. And I thought he nailed it. But it was not just Ron. It was his interaction with Kaitlyn and Matt. Matthew did an incredible job. There's some scenes where Matt and Ron have some high tension moments. And Matt really, well, you would agree, Ron, he was freaking amazing. So, and then you have the other characters around them later on, but if all of them are not doing their job, they're going to all be less. So I thought the fact that they were all at a high level, it just made us all better. When you make a movie, it's not about me. It's not about Ron. It's not about Kayla or Matt or even Melody. It's about the movie. So if all of us bring it to the highest level we can, we end up with a great film. That's why, to me, the movie's more important than we are. It's really about the film.
Yeah. And what was weird for me, I haven't done a whole lot of films in recent years. I did a number of them back in the 80s when I was popular, whatever. The feeling on set for me with the other actors, it was like there weren't cameras rolling. It was like we were really living this. And you're in that moment and you're there, man. You're going through this. It's a real experience. And then when Terry yells "cut," it's like, my God, it's really an amazing experience. I can't wait to see the finished results. I hope that I did well. I think the boss is happy with my work, and now we're out here on shows like yours promoting it and looking forward to the premiere. And just one hell of a ride for me at this stage of my life and my career. When he offered me the role, of course, I just said yes, because I want to accept every challenge that comes my way. Whether I can actually pull it off or not, he's the boss. He's the judge. But I accepted that challenge, just wanting to see if I could pull it off and rise to that occasion and take care of every detail in the film, every expression, every emotion, every movement, everything that my character goes through in the film. Really felt like I was living it at the time. I was Ray, the guy next door, and I don't want to give too much away either, but man, it is disturbing, exciting, inspiring. I hope that at the beginning of the end, I hope that you'll all be entertained.
Yeah, I think they will. I can say this because I've seen it. I'm watching it. I'm working on it, By the way, I say this in all truth. We're finishing up everything now. So that's why nobody could see it yet. But it's in good hands. But what I'll say to you is when I wrote the script for both movies, I don't like cliche. I don't like stereotype. I don't go paint by the numbers. I write by gut feeling with many years experience as a horror freak my whole life. So when you watch these people, they are not going to do what you expect. And I don't do that just to be different, but that's the way I roll as a writer. I take it very seriously. So these people are going to do things different than what you're going to anticipate. And that's pretty much on That's by design. Because I don't like movies where I can watch the trailer and I've already seen the whole film. That will not happen on this film. You've got to watch every second to really absorb it. And even then you may not get everything because I put stuff under the layers, almost subliminal. There's a lot of stuff going on. And you can take it like...
You're going to want to see the premiere at the theater at the Edmonds Theater in Washington, July 20th. And you're going to want to buy the DVD and the Blu-ray this Halloween. And you're going to watch it over and over again. And it's going to be one of those horror anthology classics that you'll be watching again 20 years from now that will be a Halloween staple, I think, for all of us. Certainly a celebration of Terry's talent, his vision, the story, the characters, the actors, the team that put this thing together. And we're excited to share it with you and the rest of the world.
Yeah, all I can say to add what Ron said is that if you're a horror fan, a true horror fan, this is for you. This is not a corporate-backed Hollywood executive committee script, executive committee cast, put the hottest songs in the movie. This is a real down-to-earth, gritty, but highly polished film. And it's made by people that love them, that respect them, that have high regard for them. We're not talking down to the audience. We're trying to take you like where Sam Raimi took you in Evil Dead, where Carpenter took you with Dark Star and, Assault on Precinct 13 and Halloween, where Romero took you with Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Bob Clark with Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, or Death Dream, or Black Christmas. This is that kind of movie. This is got a lot. It's steeped in a lot of history, especially from my films. But the other two guys are going to add what they will. But as a whole, they all take place on the same night. So I think you're going to be in for a treat. I don't want to overtalk it, but I'm very excited, and we're ready. We're ready to give you a movie to watch.
I mean, enthusiasm is infectious. I can't wait.
Yeah, no doubt.
I can't wait.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? It's like, from my perspective, and I know from most perspective, there's a certain trust on our side now because of the fact that you know the source material, you know what you're aiming for. And like he says, your infectiousness is just is an infection. Yes.
I know from Terry.
Yes, there you go,
Terry. I can guarantee you that the movie will look incredible. The actual look of the film itself in anamorphic widescreen is going to be a theatrical experience. I guarantee you, everything he does looks incredible. And if I happen to pop into the frame with the crowbar at some point, then all the better.
It'll just be
no spoilers, but I do believe the crowbar gets used. I mean, I'll guess that.
And by the way, we shot at this beautiful home in Sussex, New Jersey. It was a 4,500 square foot George Washington home with really 4 levels, a basement, a ground floor, an upstairs, and the roof. And it was on 2 acres of land. We're facing a mountain on a dead-end street. So we had ideal situation. We went through the Film Commission in New Jersey to find it. I scouted all these locations, and that was the one I wanted the most. And our crowdfund actually helped us get it because we didn't get it for free. We had to pay a fee. But the homeowner was really gracious. And to be honest, Ron could even tell you, he did not bother us. He left us alone. We got the house pretty much untouched, right?
We bloodied the shit out of that house. Oh my God. Somebody lives here? Really? We bloodied the shit out of that house.
Yeah.
Not with the crowbar, though.
No.
And by the way, I got to mention this just because it's kind of anti-Hollywood in a way, if you like that kind of thing. And I'm not trying to badmouth Hollywood, but some of our actors and our people working on this film are not 20. Kaitlyn's 50. Ron's the age he is. I'm 59. Ron, we're not kids. So what that tells you is you don't have to be 20 to do this, to live out a dream, to make a great movie, to tell a story. You can make a mature, very scary, highly suspenseful film, and they're not just kiddies. And that means also the dialogue, the action, the interaction is not just kids in high school or college. This is adults. And so be prepared for that level of maturity. You know, we're bringing that level. If you look at The Thing, right? Were they teenagers? No, they weren't teenagers. So that's the kind of film we're making. Again, I'm not trying to we have some kids in the film for sure, but it's not the whole focus.
I can tell you, Roger, you wouldn't know this, but me and Brent, when we were 23, made a full-length feature film. And it wasn't good. It was terrible. It's probably the worst movie ever made by anyone, anywhere. It's called Disposable Lives. It's even got an IMDb page, but like 14 people saw it, and those 14 people are unfortunate.
Well, would you say, Brett, making a movie is not easy?
Making a movie is not easy at all. No. I mean, it's extraordinarily hard. And
you made one after that without me, too.
That's right. I've made a few, but it's the process itself. I mean, the highs are extraordinarily high, and then the lows are extraordinarily low. And so I just decided instead that making comic books was going to be a better use of my time. But it's essentially the same thing again. It's just that now I'm directing artists instead of actors, and so it's very interesting. But yeah,
it is extremely hard work, and the preparation, of course, is a big part of it from my end. Knowing your lines, knowing how you're going to look or feel. I literally film myself and watch it back with every expression, every opening or closing of the eyes, and every movement. I've pretty much got planned out. And then you get on set and everything's different. No, you're coming in from this door and you're going to react this way to this character in this setting. And you're there for 18 hours, literally. So much of it is hurry up and wait, as you know. Literally, you get all amped up for your scene, and then it's done, cut, next scene. And then you've got to... we were doing Anomaly in the tunnels in New Jersey. We were underground. And literally a quarter-mile underground in the tunnels, in the mining tunnels, and I'm down there with my flashlight looking for a paranormal phenomenon. And okay, my scene's done, all right? And I have to go up to the level ground to have a cigarette. So I walk out, I climb out of the tunnel, out into the open air to have a smoke. Ron, we need you on set now. You're on set now. I put the smoke out, and I walk back down, all the way down into the tunnel, and I wait another 5 hours before they're actually ready.
Yeah, I got to give Ron and Kaitlyn both a compliment. This is a story you probably never hear anywhere else. But the night before the first night of Ron's weekend, so Ron came the second weekend, we did 2 weekends, so 4 shooting days. And so on that Friday night before we filmed Saturday and Sunday, Alien Romulus came out. And I'm a big fan of that director. I think he's one of my favorite in the last 15 years, Fede Alvarez. And I asked them if they wanted to go because I was going to go see it now because I was ready. We had storyboarded the movie, first time in my career. We had prepared for 5 months, read-throughs. We were ready. So I didn't need to do anything really else, just relax. And I thought, what better than to go see a great directed movie from one of my new favorite directors? So I asked both of them if they wanted to go. And at first they said yes. And then they both turned me down. And they said, you know what? We've got to, they didn't say this together. It was individual. Ron said, you know what? I'm going to stay back and go over my lines. And Kaitlyn did the same thing. So I went and saw Alien Romulus in IMAX by myself. But that shows you the commitment that they both made for their characters. And I'll be honest, it shows. I said it the 2 movies. We had done 5 months of read-throughs for beginning to the end. And AI, we did 2 months. There was a difference between how good the actors are ready. The other actors still work, but they were not as good. They were not as ready. The more prep you put into any film, the better it is. And that's why we've been preparing Miss Scarlet we're going down in the second month.
That's certainly, I had to focus. And I have seen Alien Romulus several times since then, Terry, but not on the big screen with you. But I figured, why would I go to see a movie in a theater with Terry when I can just go to the strip club down the road? No, I'm kidding.
Practice your lines there. Yeah, like,
totally focused on my role. Wanted to get some rest. Those are long days on set, man. Literally, you're there from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. the next day. So it's not like a rock concert that I normally do, where you got to be up for that 2-hour performance. This is an all-day experience, and I can't wait to see the final result. To cap this all off with you guys, and we appreciate your time and having us on to promote this. But that premiere in the Seattle area at the Edmonds Theater on July 20th is critical for us. It's a 200-seat theater, so tickets are limited. You can find those at beginningoftheendmovie.com, ronkeel.com, Eventbrite. Just search Beginning of the End Movie. And we certainly want to pack the theater and share this experience with true horror movie fans and rock fans, and make this an experience that none of us will ever forget.
Amen.
Well, and I'm sure it will be, and I know I look forward to it. Krista and I are really excited to be there to join you and help support you in this process. But thank you both so much, and I'll tell you right now, I want to reserve our time to talk Miss Scarlet with you as well, because this was too much fun, and Ron, obviously.
Brett will bring our movie, and you can interview us about it.
Yeah,
25 years ago.
That's right.
Love to see it.
When I'm dead, then you can all see it.
I can tell you're a little more dedicated an actor than Brett and I were.
We tried. We did our best. We were 20.
Well, am I dead? Yeah. Or am I alive? You'll have to watch the movie to find out.
That's right. and
the beginning of the end.
Right now, I'm heading over to Tubi and check out Double Vision right away here. That's what I'm doing right after we get off.
Enjoy that.
And Ron, quick question for you: How did it go with Renee's opening at for the art show?
Oh, the art exhibit was amazing. Thank you for asking, Brett. It was a surprise birthday gift for her. She is an artist, a true artist, who doesn't care about capitalizing on her work or even showing it. Really, so for me, I'm her biggest fan, and to have that really successful showing at the East Bank Art Gallery here in Sioux Falls a couple of days ago, birthday surprise for her, was fantastic. She did the Keel World Metal Cowboy comic book cover, and I do believe she is going to be doing the artwork for the Ms. Scarlet movie poster as well. So
awesome.
It's all in the family, and thanks for asking. I'm her biggest fan, and to have someone of that, I'm just really blessed to be surrounded by people that I love, that are super talented, that have so much creative vision to offer. My wife, Renee, people like Terry in my life, and to tell the story about how Terry and I met and how we got started in this business together. It was 10 years ago, Terry, when he reached out to me and wanted to use Speed Demon for a racing video. And that's how it started. And then he was casting for Anomaly. And the character that I portray in that film is kind of like Zach Bagans, kind of like a paranormal investigator kind of thing. And he said, "Do you want the role?" I said, "Well, I'd love the role. But by the way, do you know I'm bald, right?" He said, "Oh, that's great. Yeah."
And by the way, Ron, we got to mention this. You know who won? Who was the person who suggested you originally? Even though we had a connection.
Steve Lynch from
Autograph.
Yeah.
Wow. I said, you know any rock stars that want to be in a movie? He goes, call Ron Keel. I go, Ron Keel, we've already got a connection.
That's right. So now I really do look like Ray.
There you go.
Wow, I'm in character now. I'm in character. And when we're doing the read-throughs for the movie, literally there's scenes where I have to bang against the wall and I get shoved around and I'm walking around in my studio here with the crowbar. Well, the rest of the cast must have thought I was crazy. Is that method acting? I think it's how what they call it. I mean, I'm really going through the motions, man. When it's a fight scene, it's a fight scene. And somebody's going to get their ass kicked.
Awesome. Well, I guess, yes, Renee's got a little competition with the crowbar now, but, it's all good. But yeah, thank you both so much for being on the show. I certainly...
This is metal! No,
metal!
It's Mel! It's Mel!
We wish you nothing but the best in the future with this and with everything else. And I love you both. And I certainly look forward to seeing you on the 20th and talking to you both again.
Thank you. We'll see you then. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you. All right.
This is the beginning of the end.
As long as it's not the end of the beginning. We're not. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.